Hello, Mark here, trust you're well. Welcome to a recording of a live Lightroom and Lightroom Classic skills and support session that I hosted back in November 2025. In this session, the first hour, we looked at IPTC and how we can use it and search, what the fields are for, and we had this general discussion regarding that functionality of Lightroom Classic. Second half of our session together was support, your questions. And we had a member that had a problem with their catalogue. It had become corrupted and they hadn't backed up for some time, and we looked at their options. There was obviously other questions involved in this session. If you'd like to come and join us, just visit lightroommark.com, and below the introduction is our most recent upcoming events. I'd hope you'd like one day to come and join us. And for now, let's jump across the recording and happy photography. Right, good evening, everybody. This week we are going to look at IPTC data, International Press Telegraph Council. Or is it code? I always get it wrong. It's one or the other. And it's a standard about data that we can apply to, in our case, images, but also video. And it's how we can associate the data. There's nothing really for audio, although there is a movement to get something audio. And there is a few groups, shall we say, of audio artists that have put together spreadsheets, and there are common ordering and common fields and names and so on. So they're harmonizing it across in the audio. So how do you categorize things and so on, etc. So, but yeah, video and stills, IPTC data, and it's about linking up that information with other sources. So that's a pound in the jar for saying so. If you were a journalist and you were writing a column for a newspaper, you would have what they call the headline of the column. But the title of the photograph could be different to the headline of the article. And this is where IPTC comes involved, especially as we've now digitized our workflow, and we use CRM system, customer relationship management software, and we use other software that populates fields automatically. So an example is classic to Flickr, or classic to Photo Shelter, which is a rights managed selling service, classic to Alamy, to Getty, and they all subscribe to the same data and fields. How does that help us? We only have to do it once. That's it. So we could be somebody that's interested in selling our images or uploading them to a website for a gallery. So, for example, WordPress. We could quite easily populate the information in our catalog or in Lightroom or in Bridge or in Photoshop, because they're all common denominators. And when we save that file or export that file, and then we take it to another application, because the information is already there and it's a standard, it populates the fields. So the headline and the title and the description and the keywords, which is IPTC, is automatically populated. Okay? Yeah? Everyone right with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you've got a website with a gallery, the title of the file would come from the title in your IPTC data in Classic. You don't have to sit there and type all this information in again. You type it in once. So if you use Alamy or Getty, or you send it to a news organization, or you've got a photo club website and they use these fields, the information that you give Classic will tell all these different sites. So you haven't got to keep giving these organizations the titles, the descriptions, the keywords, the GPS, if you so wish, your personal contacting. You haven't got to do that. It all does it automatically because it's a standard. Okay. So I've given you the PDF. I will send it out in the recording, as I said earlier. Right. Where do we find all this? Well, let's look at the easy one to start with, which is under select an image, and it's under metadata. So we have this metadata panel. And we looked at briefly last week, we looked at the default setting. But if you click on the drop down opposite metadata, we have all these different display options. So we have the EXIF, which we looked at, but we've got IPTC, and you can show both. But it's a long list, okay? So all we're looking at is IPTC. And we have this information here that we can populate. So we have file name. So this comes from the file name that's here. If I click on a different image, see the file name changes. Metadata status is updated. What that means is sometimes you edit the image outside of Classic. Not best practice, but there might be a reason why. And you'd get a little exclamation mark here. And if you go right click, you can update the metadata. Well, this is telling you the status and it's up to date. Who created it? Their job title. The address of the creator, the contactor, website, email, phone, and so on. None of this is compulsory, and you can have different presets, and we're going to talk about presets later. Headline. Headline is different to title. Okay, so we've got headline, got description, IPTC code, state subject code. There is in the news industry your football, that will be a code. You are Formula One, that will be a code. You'll be a political news photographer, that will be a code. And in business, they call them SIC codes. And you have the codes there. So you will have a code, probably not relevant to anybody here. Description writer, so who's written all this? Categories, you can have, if you're a sports photographer, you can have any categories you want there. You can have a duplicate category. Date, intellectual, scene, location, city, state. We go on. This is all standard information, and a lot of this will be picked up from your camera, this address information. So if we have a image, let's have a look to see if we've got an image that's got GPS data. So I'm just going to click on images. I'm looking at all my folders. I'm going to my metadata. What's metadata? My EXIF metadata. And then I'm going to GPS. Have I got any images with GPS? Yes, I have. So I'm searching on my EXIF data, like we did last week, to find these images. And if I click on this image here that's got metadata of GPS, EXIF metadata, it's populated the address for me. Okay? And that's in your preference. And it will do that on import. It will put in that address, it will look it up for you and save you typing it in. Okay? So that's from that file. So we got title, job identifier, instructions. So you might have, you see on Alamy and on Getty an accreditation line a lot of the times. It will say Getty Images / the name of the photographer. You might put that in there, and that's the instructions for the credit line, how you have the image credited. Okay. Then you've got copyright status, and this is IPTC data. A lot of information, yeah? But what we can do is I come up to metadata and I come down. We have this pop-up, this splash panel pop-up, and it allows us to pre-populate the information. And we can have presets. And this is all, again, totally optional. The files or the fields that we want to use, we tick the blue box. Now we could tick all of them, basic information, and this is creating a preset. Okay. Now, if you've got a file already with preset information in there, so like this one's got a website address in there, job title, it's got my name in there, and so on, a location. If we have a preset and we apply it to that image, it'll overwrite it if we tick the blue box. So if we look creator, if I come down, we've got creator. So I've got my name there. If I tick that blue box, that's going to be applied to this IPTC data. If I do not tick the box, it will not apply it to these fields. Why is that important? You may already have information in there that you do not want to overwrite. So on these presets that we're going to set up one in a second, you can have several different presets, but you only tick the boxes that you want to apply. Okay, so copy name, ratings, that's some stars, color labels, caption. Okay. And just close it down. Camera information. Do I want to overwrite any camera information on import or that is in the catalog? I can do this with a preset. Alternative extended description. But here we go, headline. So Minehead Station. Okay, tick the blue box. Okay, it's going to apply that. Description writer is me, so I want to apply that. And copyright, so it's 2025. I'm the copyright holder. The image is copyrighted, so I want to apply that field. I want to apply that field and apply that field. So I'm going to apply all those fields to this preset. Then creator, me, creator's address. Okay, Minehead, Somerset, TA24. And this is totally optional. You don't have to put any of this in. Okay, so I can put phone number in. And I can put it in international format if I wish. Okay, email address. Website, job title. Now, why would I put all this information in? Anybody?
If someone wants to buy your print.
Yeah. I'm going to burn this in on export to my file. And I'm giving them every opportunity to find out who owns the image. If I'm going to put it up online, who owns the image? Because when you go right click, and if you don't remove it, and I'll show you how to remove it, if you go right click, this information will appear in the metadata of the photograph. So when it goes up to Google and Google search and somebody finds the image, all this information will appear on or in or around the image. Okay, so this is where it was taken. So it was taken in Minehead. Sublocation was Minehead Station. Okay, and that's Somerset, United Kingdom, UK. What's the title? It's a steam train. Okay, and all these are blue. They're ticking. Credit line, source. I was there, no information. These are extended IPTC data, and these relate to specialist software. And I don't know if you've done any recent searches on Google. When you hit the image search, it says this image is for sale or may be for sale. And this is in this section here. Okay, so originating name, you can models. So if you're doing model agency work and so on, that's all here. And here's your extended rights. So you can put in website addresses, you can put in the information that when Google shows the image, it says available for sale, clicks on it, and it takes you to the information that you've provided. Video information. Okay, we're not going to look at that. And keywords. Okay, and I can apply the keywords if I wish. So I'm just about to create this preset of a steam train IPTC data in Minehead. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go save as a new preset. Okay, I've called it steam train. And I've got these images here. So let's take this away. And I've got these images here. And come down. Keep coming down. Keep coming down. We'll go down to there. And I've now selected these images. Let's make the thumbnails a little bit smaller. There we go. And I can now apply that preset to all those active images. So I've now applied all that data, and it could have a description to all those images in one click. All right. I can do this on import as well. So if I deselect that, go import, and then apply during import, we have metadata. So I would have selected my images from the left-hand side, the source and all them here, but I select my preset here. So all the pictures, steam trains at Minehead that I took 20 of, 50 of, or whatever, I've applied all that information here. Why is that important? Anybody? Anybody?
Presumably nobody can use or steal them because your details are on there.
Well, if they're going to take the picture, they're going to take the picture. There's still ways around doing things and so on, etc. But why is adding this data important at this moment? Either on import or doing it now.
So you can find them later.
Yeah, exactly. So if I go to text and search any field contains, and hopefully, we'll find it. Probably thinking. Come on. There we go. Took a little while to find them. Probably because I'm doing lots of other things at the same time. But there we go. I've just typed in there steam. And there's all the images that I've just found. Because I took a few moments on import to apply that preset. Okay? All right. You can have multiple presets of IPTC data. Now, when I used to do a lot of cricket, I would have a preset for each cricket club, physical club, with all their details, all their address and everything, where I was taking the photograph. And all I would do is I'd change the title to who the match was. Somerset versus Glamorgan. And I'd update the preset just by selecting down and saving it, or just if I change something. So if I added something here, it would say update the preset. Do you want to save or not save the preset? Okay, so I am applying all the data. So as I take photographs, and in those days, it was wirelessly being backed in their network to my laptop in the press room, and all this information was being applied. So how would that help me as a sports photographer? Well, immediately I found all the images, and all I would then have to do and say, that's the photograph I'm going to submit to the agency. 90% of the work was already done, and I just type in the description. That was it, done. And I might have those images all the same, so I would sync the metadata. Okay. So I could just add a description to one image, and it would apply to all the images. So let's just go description. Where's it gone? Category, description, writer, IPTC. It's up the top if I remember rightly. Caption, IPTC. Right. And that's going to synchronize to all of them under caption. There it is there, description. Okay. And it's applied it to all those images. But it's about finding your images. So now let's build on last week. There's all my pictures of steam trains. Just deselect them all. And I'll turn around and say, right, they've all got GPS coordinates. Don't want the date. Are they picked? Are they flagged? There's none flagged. Okay. What shutter speed? So let's do the shutter speed first. Shows shutter speed. And then let's do, because the questions are asked in the order we read left to right. So let's just turn that off for a second, and then find, there they are. Let's just pick those two. So I'm just going to highlight them, press the P for pick, and pick that one there. So we've got some for the answer to the question. Go to my metadata, GPS coordinates, okay? And I'm going to look for a steam train. So any field's got steam in it. It's got GPS coordinates. What's my shutter speed? 1/160th. And are they flagged? Though there's none flagged in there. I'll go back to my shutter speed. There's my flagged images. So by using a mixture of EXIF data, the data that comes from the camera, and IPTC data, I found the files that I need to find.
Tummy rubbies.
Okay. All right. Now, I could put this in a smart collection. So if I go to here, create a collection, we'll just call it Steam. And I could say, search on title or creator or any metadata, search all metadata containing, just wait for the field to come up. There we go, Steam. Spelled it wrong as well. Or typed it wrong. My typing's not the best in the world. Okay, and that is flagged. Okay, and has, let's say the city. So let's get rid of that one. The city, its location, city is Minehead. Okay, turn that off. And there is a smart collection with those three images in there. So I would have a smart collection with things that I'm constantly looking for. What's important about a smart collection? Anybody?
It only fits the things that you're specifically looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. So smart collection will only give you the answers to those questions unless you use the filter bar. Okay. So to add more questions, what else does a smart collection do?
Well, as you work, it'll add
Yeah.
stuff.
So your word the other week about a collection was static.
Dynamic.
It's a
It's
dynamic. Yeah.
dynamic,
It's
right?
the opposite to a collection. A collection is a frozen moment. It's a static moment that Jay used the other day. Static moment of when you put the images in. Unless you manually change a collection, okay, by adding and removing images, the collection stays the same. A smart collection is dynamic. So as images answer the question yes, so it's got Steam, which I've typed wrong. It's in Minehead and it's picked. Yeah. They appear in that smart collection. All right. Everyone with that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I can easily find images that using a smart collection. All right. And I'm searching on the IPTC data, which is the data that I've given the image. Do you remember last week I said EXIF data is the data that the camera manufacturer applies to the image. IPTC data is the additional information that we want to give. And what is the one field that a camera, IPTC field, that a camera will allow you to add?
Stars.
Yeah, stars. Ratings. Because that is my data. I'm choosing that data. I'm using stars for a particular reason. Okay. And most cameras, this little one here, this FN2 button here, that is in play mode, 1 star for this, for me, my workflow. And that comes across on import. But it's IPTC data because I'm applying the data. EXIF is my shutter speed. Camera is embedding that data to the image. Okay, I might choose the shutter speed if I'm shooting that in manual or shutter priority or time value. Or the camera may choose the shutter speed if I'm shooting in program or aperture value. But the camera puts that information in rather than myself manually. Okay. All right. So what else IPTC data is there? So we've got contact, headline, title, location, description, copyright information. What else? There's a big one that I haven't mentioned yet.
Keywords.
Keywords. Well done, David. So we have keywords. And again, that is IPTC data. What are keywords? Keywords are tags. They're reference words. They're words that we can search on. And again, we can add that information in our preset. So if we come up to our preset, we can come down the bottom and we've got keywords. So we can apply all this information to our images on import. Why is that important? Because we might have a smart collection of images and that smart collection is asking questions. Show me all the pictures of otters that I've taken at Mull that I've picked or that are 1 star. Okay, so some of you will know this already. I'm taking a load of photographs, click, 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 click. I've got some downtime. I've starred them on the back with I've looked at the picture on the back and I pressed this button, I put 1 star on it. So I'm in Mull, as a colleague here is tonight. in Mull, taking a load of pictures of otters, and I'm sitting there over a cup of coffee, and on the back of the camera, I've liked them. Okay, I put 1 star, so I've liked them. I then import them into Classic in narratives. It applies from the GPS from the camera, so the EXIF data, it applies the address. Classic looks up the address and actually writes that into the data. You've added your headline, your title, otters sitting in the sun on a rock or something like that. You've put 1 star on the back of the camera. You've pressed the button to put 1 star on it because you've liked it. And you've imported 2,000 pictures, let's say, because wildlife, you're taking quite a few pictures in succession in a burst. But you've chosen 1 or 2 or 3 images, and you have this smart collection. So you just go select those images, import with the preset, and in that smart collection, you've got all your 1 stars, which you've liked on the back of the camera. Then all you do is you filter by date, today's date. There's the pictures you've liked on the back of the camera. And that's taken you, excluding the importing, depends on the speed of the card, speed of your computer, but 1 click, and it's taken just a few seconds to give you those images that you've liked on the back of the camera. Because we've thought ahead and we've applied the data on import. It's an otter, it's in Mull. We've put a star on it that we like the image on the back of the camera. And the answer, those questions, show me those images, is 1 click away. So IPTC is quite important for finding our images. We're giving, and we don't have to give all the information. So keywording, which we're going to talk about in the new year, I only give on import basic information. So that could be place, space, and the content. So Minehead, coastline, beach, sunrise, midday, sunset. That's all I'm interested in. I'm not interested in if there's people on the beach and so on. I just want to identify those images quite quickly. And then from the answer, I can then be more specific in what image am I looking for? Because when do you stop? That's down to you. I want to do the bare minimum that answers my question or gets me to where I want to get to. I don't want to apply on import and on digital asset management. I don't want to apply 50 keywords. Why? Because my keyword list will be, even on hierarchical, will be so long. I add those keywords to the image that I'm going to export because I want to guess what that person will be looking for on my image. So if it was midday, 2 people walking hand in hand along the beach, it will say that in the keywords or the metadata, in the description and so on, because that's what somebody's looking for that image for. Okay? All right, everyone all right with that?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. I want to explain one thing on keywords and Face ID, because that's metadata as well. So let's have a look here. We have, this is my training catalog, as most of you will know, and it's more of a demonstration. But when we go to Face ID, and we're going to look in this location, we have all these faces, and they are keywords, but they're keywords for the face. Okay, so it'll actually put a box around the face. Can you see it's got a, if I move there, it's gone highlighted. You should be able to see it on the face. It's got a box. It's not keywording the image as such. It's keywording the face. Okay, which is slightly different in metadata because it's a section of the image. So we take Joe here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 faces. And it's that face that's being keyworded. Okay. So why would that happen? Anyone? Why would we do that?
Well, searching again to be able to find, like if I want to find the pictures of my daughter,
Yeah. 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 Oh, it's lowercase. There we go. Okay. So the root is Basil again there, and I could actually, if I smaller the thumbnails, I can, where's Basil gone? There's me. I can just drag me up there. And I'm keywording the face. There's Joe. I can put Joe. And you can, if I come off it, you can see that it's now learning this is Joe. It won't get everyone right to start with. The more I give it, the more it'll do. See, this one's saying this is Basil. It's not, it's me. And I'm just dragging them over. But it's keywording the face. And the great thing is with the metadata is you can search on multiple people in a picture. Okay. All right. So I can search on people, look for a picture that's got Joe and Mark in it. All right. And that's why it does the faces, and it's slightly different in the face recognition. All right. So if I go here, people, and there we go. It's got people. All right. Which is separate. There's the people up here. And if I click on the arrow, there's all the photographs that have got me in it. Now, I only did 3 with me, didn't I? Did 3 images with me. So if I click back there, it's found an additional 5 images. I did this image and this image. I can't remember what the other one I did. I think it was this image. But it's found the other images automatically. And this is why we use keywording for faces. It's looking at the faces. Right? Slightly different to normal metadata. All right. And with that, so when you use presets, make sure you use the keyword from the people. Okay. Not from all, because that is keywording the image, not the face. Subtle difference. Okay. That help you? I'm going for the camera to jump back.
Now,
there we go.
Keywording, does keywording go into actually in the IPTC?
Yep. It's at the bottom of the presets, right at the bottom.
So when I export an image, other people know my keywording.
Yeah. Let me show you the export.
That's actually got me deeply disturbed because you're telling the public a lot of information about yourself.
Yeah. So
man, I don't like that. I don't want to have all this personal information out into the public.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't have to.
So I got to strip all the IPT stuff, or at least.
Yeah, you can do that quite easily.
Man,
so when
I
you
hope
go, so remember we talked about renaming and the wedding photographer I told you about that renames them Smith and Jones 1 to 60. Well, when you export, you can change all this data. Okay, so file name is just 1, but you can change all your metadata. So here we go. We've got a section here called metadata. Copyright only, copyright and contact details, EXIF data, all metadata. You can choose what you want to export to the actual file. So it will remove them. Remove personal information. Remove location information.
Wow. Man, that's really important. I never really realized that.
So And Jay, you use the web module. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Using the web module, let's just do this. Should be back on me, I think. Using the web module will actually allow you to, when you export from the, because what the web module does is it exports the image to a website.
Right.
Okay, so that's what it does. All right.
And also your publication,
Yeah.
like to Flickr.
Yeah.
Now, so where when you're doing Flickr and you say publish, where do you control the?
Okay, so I'll show you in publish services in a second. So
Okay.
when you're going to export the image to a desktop, so desktop here, I'm going to export an image. I can strip out all the copyright only. I'm going to export this one image. Going to show in Finder, export. There's the image. I go right click, get information, and it'll pop up in a second. There we go. And it's removed all the data. Okay, it's not listed. Okay, so I expand it all and it's not listed. Nothing's there. It's all been removed.
So if you
Okay,
say remove personal data, it'll leave the title and headline and
you can
description.
choose whatever you want to do. And the
Because
nice thing about a digital asset manager is you can save that as a preset. So you set all this up how you want to do it, and you go add no address. And now I've saved that preset of the export data that I want to remove, whatever you wish to do. Okay, so change the file name, the site, the JPEG, quality of the JPEG. You save all this as a preset. And then you get to your metadata and say, right, I only want to include the contact information. I want to take everything else out. Or I want to include particular things. So copyright and contact only, or whatever metadata I want to include. I select that here and I export it, but I save it as a preset. Okay. And you can have, and I've got in my main work catalog, I've got about 30 different presets from different watermarks to different sizes to different qualities. And it creates a file and puts it on my desktop for me for a few minutes. But the same is what Jay was talking about with published services. Published services, what they do is they take it to a third party. That could be a website, that could be uploading to a service, say, for example, Flickr. You used to have Facebook and things like that, and you would remove the data if you so wished. Okay, so we go to, this is the Flickr account that I have here for Lightroom Mark. And again, it's exactly the same, but it doesn't, well, it does create the file, but then removes the file. Okay, and you can select what data you want to remove. Remove my personal data, remove the location. So when it sends it to Flickr, it doesn't have that information in there. Okay. But
wow.
you want that information, or you might want that information for particular people, particular customers. If you're a business, you want them to find. And in this export, we've got how you want to save the image on Flickr. So is it a private image? Is it a public image? Is it a safe? Is it got nudity in there and so on? Is it a screenshot? So we've got extra functionality here, extra IPTC data. And we've also got the watermark. We can select different watermarks. Okay. So it's the data's there. We have all the data for us, but when we export, we can choose what data to share. Whether
Now,
that's, sorry, Jay?
for the web module, that would be the hard drive.
No, web module. When you click web
Because,
module, it's in the upload settings,
oh, okay.
right?
Okay.
It's in here. So there's your
Okay.
preset here. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You choose what you want to do. Remember, one of my sayings is Lightroom and Lightroom Classic, the ecosystem is every tool for every type of photographer and photography. So some of us here are just camera club. Some of us here write articles and send them to magazines. You know, that
Wow.
edit,
Man.
how many times does that editor get an email saying, you know, consider this for publication? And then they've got 5,000 emails a week, and each of them got 10 attachments to them. Oh, I like this picture, I'm writing about this. Who's that belong to? I've misfiled it or whatever, and so on. Well, they go right click, properties, depending on their operating system, get info, and there's your contact details. But you could just put John Smith, johnsmith@gmail.com, London, England. And that's in your preset. You've got a preset of basic contact information. I'm a business. So I have my copyright, my limited status, my company registration number, my registered office address, my phone number, my website, my email, because it's the legal entity identity of that image. So we all have different reasons to put this information or not put this information in. And that's what Classic and Lightroom allows us to do. So it's understanding what data we want to put in for ourselves, what the camera puts in, how do we use it with a smart collection, how do we use it with a normal collection, how do we share that information. That could be sharing it with another application. So you open it in Photoshop. Do you want that information to go across the Photoshop? Yeah. It's having all these choices. Some of them aren't relevant to us, but knowing about them helps us work a little bit faster. Okay.
Man, this is extremely important. I had assumed an assumption that Lightroom Classic treated keywording and all this stuff like a sidecar, just as text in the catalog.
Mm-hmm.
It never occurred to me that they actually embedded it
Yeah.
in.
When you
Whoa, I
export,
mean, man, what I have exposed so much personal stuff
mm-hmm.
already. I don't know if I can. There's so much out there. I don't know if I can go and override it
Well,
and republish all that stuff.
with published services, the great thing about published services, it it remembers where it sent it and it overwrites it. So your
Right,
Flickr account, for example, or your website, all you do is you hit republish and it
right.
overwrites the original file.
The trouble is, all of these big digital companies have already scraped the web. So they already have what I
Yep,
didn't realize, that I was giving them all this personal information, like where I
yep,
live,
yep.
location for my camera. Man, I mean, this is just this has been unbelievable for me
Yep.
because I had no idea.
But it's the
Uh,
same with our phone. Our phone, we think, oh, it's great. It knows where we are.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but if you don't turn off the tracking facility on your phone for particular apps, Facebook knows where you are. Facebook,
yeah.
unless you turn it all off, all this privacy settings, the all the apps
They
they,
all know. It's like,
they follow you around.
if I
They
happen to look at something, on Amazon, then I start getting emails from people about
yeah,
that. Ah,
yeah, but
1984, George Orwell.
yeah,
God.
but the thing is, it's about being what I call an informed consumer. So I've informed you that you might want that data for you, or you might want that data to tell particular people. but you also want the option to not tell people. So to just say with phones, you might turn off all the tracking for all the apps apart from Costa Coffee or Starbucks for being international. Because when you go past the Starbucks, the app knows where you are and it says,
Right.
"Oh, Mark, we've got an offer in Starbucks today. Go in," because the phone knows you're standing outside Starbucks. Now, you might want that. You might say, "I'm prepared, Starbucks, to tell you where I am." So I get those offers. So it's all about being an informed consumer. And that's what, these software packages allow us to do things, to make things, what we think, find our images really easy. Oh, I took it in Minehead. Show me all the pictures I took in Minehead, then show me all the ones I picked. But if I'm not aware that I've put that information on the image, if I don't remove it on export and I put it on Facebook, I've transferred all that data to there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even something like you make a model of camera, you might not want to share on a website or with somebody that you've bought a brand new camera. They sit there and go, "Oh, that's a lovely shot. What camera was that taken with?" Right click, boom. "Oh, that was taken with a Nikon Z9 or whatever," and so on. "I didn't know he had a." Right. So what does that say to a burglar? I'm being alarmist now. Yeah. They now know you've got a Nikon Z9. Yeah.
Right.
It's just being aware, but the tools are there that you can remove that data. You want to share it with your friends and family. You've been to an event that you want to share an album with people because you're proud of your photographs. You want to share that story. You want to put it up on the Camera Club website. Yeah. But
But
you want to,
actually, I actually have the opposite problem in that because I have so much film that I've scanned,
Mhm.
I want to change the camera because in the XF
Yeah.
is the camera that was used to scan the
Yeah.
image,
And
not
that's where the
the,
preset would come in. You
well,
type
no,
in the camera.
but that won't change. You can't change the only XF you can change is the date. That's the only XF. You can change all the IPTC, but you can't change uh Classic only allows you to change the date created. And it's pretty flexible on changing the date created, but you can't change the camera. You have to do that before you import. I don't think you can do it while you're importing. I never tried while you're importing. And that turns out not to be so easy to do, to change it before you import.
There is in the, just looking at the panel for you, under preferences, under presets. So under preferences, under presets, you have camera and you can change. Yeah, it doesn't do that. I'll have a think on that one, Jay. I'm sure we can do
Yeah,
it. I'll have a think on that one for you. And when we speak next week on your one-to-one,
okay. Yeah,
I'll come back to
okay.
you on that one.
And because it turns out that there are apps that will change the
Yep,
XF, but each camera maker can tweak and have a slightly different
correct.
XF,
Yep,
and then those apps won't work if they've tweaked it a bit.
yep,
But even though Classic can deal with the tweaks, but these individual creators who've created an app, they can't deal with all the different cameras.
yep.
So um, I've come across uh, I think an Olympus that they can't change the camera information
But it's
because
the
I want,
same.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
it's the same with Apple. You know, they lock down all their. I was just looking for the one that I use.
right.
I can't find it off the top of my head, but yeah. So you
It's not 100% effective.
yeah, there are apps out there that you can say this field, let's say camera serial number, change it to this. So when you've got before you put them into Classic, you can actually change the. Was it Meta 35 was one, and the app was actually designed for writing metadata to film. So they had a little dongle that you could plug into data backs on film cameras, and it would take certain data, but you could override it in the app. But they went out of business years ago, but you still might find it. Meta 35 is
Right.
one, but
But
there
then
are.
new cameras, um, anyway, I tried two programs and neither one was 100%
Mhm.
effective.
Yeah,
Uh, they're really focused around the dominant camera.
yeah,
Nikon, and Olympus isn't dominant enough. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
ran into a problem.
I understand
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And it's becoming less, Olympus. I'm disappearing from the,
Oh, don't tell that to Mr. Weeks. He's just bought an Olympus. But there we
Up
go.
and coming they are.
Sorry, mate.
They're up and coming.
They're up and
uh,
coming. That's it. Yeah.
well, no, I mean, I've been using Olympus. I bought an Olympus in 1997, their first digital camera, the 320. And I've been using them ever since, and I love them. But it's like the third party lens makers now are not bringing out the
Yeah.
OM mount. But
Yeah. Research and development costs.
Olympus is still stunning. Their lenses are still stunning. I mean, it's still quite an exceptional camera
Mhm.
maker. Uh,
So let's just recap. So EXIF data is the data that your camera records. So shutter speed, um, aperture, ISO, GPS if it has it, the file size, the number of pixels, all that information at time of capture, and we can search on all that. IPTC is what we give it. So title, headlines, details about us, our keywords, a description. We can take the GPS data from the camera or from a third party GPS tracker or an app on our phone. We can tell Lightroom Classic to look up the address for us. One scenario I had, I had the builder of a pavilion at a cricket ground wanted a picture with this for batter in it, very famous cricketer at Taunton, but with their pavilion in the background. So I used the GPS data so I was standing in the right location and used the keywords, face keywords, to find the particular batter, the cricketer. And I went from, I don't know, quarter of a million images to 35 images in one click. So I'm using that data. So, and it's down to what you want to do. It's working out your end goal. Your end goal is I just want to find the image. It's only for me. I just want to find the image. So a couple of keywords: Minehead, birthday, the Face ID, the names of the children or grandchildren or whatever, or it's you've gone to Niagara Falls, you know, Canada or America, which side you're on of the border. You know, just these basic keywords because we know where we've been, what we're doing, roughly the dates, so we can use the date. We know roughly what camera we had, and so we've got all that information that we can just search, but we can automate it. So by adding those additional keywords, by adding a title, by adding a description, we can find our images automatically using smart collections or just looking for a couple of questions. And then we can then share if we wish, our images with that information on there. So rather than, if we don't put the information on, you send the picture by email to somebody. Where was that? Well, all they got to do is go right click and there's the information there. So they haven't got to send you the email back, making it easier. So something that I do a lot now for my clients is when I export and share images with them, I put the file name that's relevant for them, not relevant for me. Okay. What I mean by that is I'm making their life easier. So let's just say it's a commercial portrait. I'll put the name of the person that's in the image as a part of the file name. It takes it from the keywords and automatically on export adds it to the file name. Okay. And I've got a preset that does that. All right. So it's every tool for every photographer for every type of photography. And it's understanding what we can do with the tools and how we would like to use them. And we got, I think there's 18 of us tonight. There's 18 different ways that we would probably want to use them, or not at all use them. Okay. So anyone got any questions about that? No? Gone awfully quiet.
Well, I have a tip from experience that
Mm-hmm.
Title, headline, and description are used differently in different services.
Mm-hmm.
So you really have to check ahead of time.
Yep.
For instance, the web module uses title in larger font size and description in smaller font size.
Yep.
And Flickr does not use title, it uses only description. So I believe. So I need to double check that. But you have to be careful
Mm-hmm.
in if you're publishing or using a collection in different providers.
So the tip that I give when that question is asked is actually write the word title in the title field. Write the word description in the description field. Write the word headline in the headline field. Write the word keyword in the keywords.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
right?
good.
And then
Good.
publish that one image to that service or whatever you're going to do. And then you go to that one image and then you can see, that field's got that in there. That field's got that in there. And that
Right,
field's got that in there. So when you create your preset, you know exactly what blue tick to tick, box to tick, to
right.
include that information.
Oh, great suggestion. Great suggestion.
Okay. But we're going to look at next Monday, we're going to look at presets in the library module. So we're like we've just done tonight, that's just metadata. There are other presets and speeding up our importing with presets and how they react with your camera and developing. So if you've got a style of, especially with the AI preset. So if you go to my YouTube channel, Lightroom Mark, there is a video that I put up about 2 weeks ago, all about dust removal. Has anyone seen it?
Yep.
Yeah. On import, any image on import, it removes the dust automatically. You do not have to do a thing. It creates a mask using the AI and removes your sensor dust automatically. All right. There's no extra buttons to press or anything like that. And I'll show you how to set it all up to start with and so on. So this is what I mean about the presets, working out where you want to get to, allowing the tool to do the work for you. And you may have multiple presets to do multiple things, or multiple narratives to do different presets. So you'll have one for otters, one for landscapes, one for seascapes, one for this, one for that. And it will then populate and do certain actions for you whilst you're having a cup of tea. And you come back and go, that image has been metadated, it's been put in the right place, it's done 60% of my editing, and now I've just got to do the final parts of the editing. Yeah. And with assistant culling, it's called. It's only currently available for portraits, but I can see that's going to come in the future for landscapes and so on, etc. It'll start saying, what you do is you select rules. You say, is it in focus? And you set a percentage. In the current model, is the eye open? Is the person looking at you? Is the eye in focus? So you ask it these questions on an import. All the ones that don't meet that criteria, it will discard. They're still there, but they're not quite black flagged, but they're black flagged. And they'll show you the positive ones that you've asked it to do. Well, this is what all presets are all about. Okay, so on import, we're speeding up. We're applying our metadata. We're looking at our EXIF information. We're part editing it, and we can do this with 1 or 2 clicks on import. Okay, so that's what we're looking at next week. Wednesday, we're looking at mobile color picker and mixer tool. So last Wednesday, we looked at classic. We're going to look at doing it on the mobile. So changing your colors on your mobile device. So you're taking a picture with your phone, you're going to change the colors, and then all syncing back to classic. Okay. So that's what we're doing next week. Right. Anyone got any Lightroom questions? Anyone need any help with anything in Lightroom, Lightroom Classic? Someone must have a question. No?
Mark,
Yeah.
I've
Yes, David. Nice to meet you.
and you. I found I found these webinars because I had a crisis last week with Lightroom. My Lightroom decided to upgrade itself, which was great, but it corrupted my catalog in the
Okay.
process, and I broke all the rules by not having backups.
Okay.
Not at least not for the last year.
Okay.
Fortunately, well, I couldn't find any backups at the time, but
Mm-hmm.
I had exported all the work that I'd done
Mm-hmm.
onto my hard drive.
Yeah.
So I've got the originals and I've got the uh, worked images,
Yeah.
but I've lost everything that happened in between.
Okay.
So I've re-imported
Yeah.
the final images back
Yeah.
into the catalog. And then I managed to find a catalog from a year ago,
Yeah.
which, all right, there's a lot of stuff missing in between, but at least I've got something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I don't know is what do I do with that old catalog so I don't end up with multiple copies
Yeah.
of the stuff that that predates that catalog. Uh,
Yeah. There used to be, and I haven't done this for a long time, merging of catalogs functionality. Um, I'm just having a quick look. So there's yes. So you can do, yeah. So I think it's slightly changed. I haven't done this for such a long time, but if you Mac or PC,
Mac.
okay. So if you go up to File, you've got import from another catalog.
Yeah.
So the first thing I would do is I'd back up your current catalog onto a separate drive or something like that, just in case if things go wrong, so you can go back to where you are now, and then import from your other catalog. So go and find that other catalog that you're referring to, and it'll import that data from that catalog. There used to be a merge button, but it doesn't seem to be there anymore. No. So yeah, so go import from other catalog. About the sixth one down underneath file. So it will take that
Okay.
catalog and everything in that catalog and it'll bring it across.
Okay.
All right. The other
Yeah.
way you can do it is you go to, if you've got the folder, the parent of the file. So what you can do is if you've got the parent folder, this one here, if you go right click and you go synchronize, everything that's, as you can see, 628 images are in this location, but they're not in Classic.
Right.
Okay, so it'll bring everything in where it is and so on, but it'll also scan for new metadata. So if you've got any XMP files or any data that's written into the top of the file, it'll bring that in as well
Yeah.
into the header or as a sidecar file.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, fortunately, because all the files have been keyworded,
Yeah.
I was at least able to make sure I knew what I'd lost and what I'd
Yeah.
located
Yeah.
um, by searching on the keywords. So
Okay. Yeah. So you're getting there. So it's you set your backup frequency. So let's go back.
yeah, yeah. Since this happened, my backup frequency has been very frequent.
Yeah. Well, I back up. I back up every time so my workflow is classics on all the time. If I've done an hour's work in it, I'll shut classic down and it'll back it up for me. And I do that every single day. So here is my backup. So in my work catalog, this I'll have 5 or 6 backups a day, and it's every time I exit. So and there's your all the backups for this training catalog. So yes, keep them on an external drive or make sure they're in the cloud. It could be a USB drive or a thumb drive or something. So if your drive goes down, you've got them on an alternative storage. So that's that. Always tick the optimize and check box so it makes sure it does everything okay. The other thing I would suggest you do is under preferences, if I remember rightly. It's under preferences. Sure, it's under preferences. Presets, external file handling, performance. Where is it? There's a box and it says save. So what it does automatically, let's just check it's not under catalog settings. General, no, previews, metadata. There it is. This one here. So under catalog settings, under metadata, write your date and timestamp and so on. And there's also another one. Here we go. Automatically write changes to XMP file. Now, what this will do is every time you come off an image, so I've done that, if there's any data that needs to be written, it writes it to a sidecar file. So if I go here and then go here, let's see. See if I've got any X. No, I haven't got any in this one. So it'll write it into the header in this case, but certain images, it'll write it as an XMP file. So that data that would be in the catalog is now sitting next to the actual file. So you can go Command A, select all, Command S, And now all the data that relates to these images is now being saved either into the header of the image, so that means you can read it in the future, or is saving it as an XMP file.
Sorry, can you just go through that one again for
Yeah,
me?
sure. Yeah. So there's a couple of automated ways of doing it. So it's if I remember rightly, under catalog settings metadata, automatically write changes to an XMP file.
Yeah,
Okay. So anything that you write into the catalog, it creates that little file. Okay. All right. So that's that one there. But if you want to manually do that, and I'm just going to say that here's 2,500 images. If I go Command A, that's select all. Command D is deselect. So Command A, then
yeah.
Command S. Okay, which let's have a look. We got it up in the shortcuts. No, but it's Command S, and that then saves all the data either into the header of the file or as an XMP file, depending on the file format.
Okay.
Okay, so it's like a safety net. Yeah, so you've got it in the catalog, you've got a backup of the catalog,
Yeah.
but now the data, IPTC, all that stuff, it's writing, and your catalog changes, so of increased exposure and so on, is saving it as an XMP file.
Okay.
All
And
right.
does that sit with the export? If I want, once I've exported the file back onto a hard drive, is it still there?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, it's still there. Yeah,
Good.
yeah. So if you make a copy of the file, you need to copy both files, obviously. So if you're using something like GoodSync or something like that,
Yeah.
it'll look at A location and copy it to B location. So Time Machine, for example, it'll look at
Yeah.
that location and copy it all across. So you've got it as a backup.
Okay.
Yeah. So you've got your catalog, but you've got a redundancy backup of this XMP file, or it's written in the header, which how the what's great about that is when you do Alt Command E or right click edit in and choose a third party application,
Hmm.
all the data that you've taken from Classic goes across that third party application.
Right.
Could be Lightroom, that could be Nixoft on one, Silver Effects, Topaz, anything like that. All that data is written across. So they have all that data. And then when you go save, it writes it all back again. And it's sitting in Classic. And this is the reason why I love Lightroom Classic is it's about one of the few applications that allows you to leave Classic, do something else, and come back. And as you can see, it's writing, whizzing through. It's now done. Two to go. All that XMP file is writing away because I've got this ticked on.
Okay.
So it's created that. Depending on the file format, it'll write it into the header of the file or create the XMP file. Right? And if you decide I don't want to subscribe to Lightroom anymore, you can take that XMP file and open it in another application.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shall work that out and ask you again if I'm stuck.
Okay. Have a look at Backblaze. Backblaze is a subscription service. It's about five, 6, £7 a month, and basically everything on your computer is in the cloud. And there's no storage and there's no throttling back. That's slowing down your computer or your internet speed. So most photographers use Backblaze rather than using Amazon or anything like that. It's just a little app that runs in the background, and basically everything on your computer all gets backed up into the cloud, and you can just rebuild it.
Is that similar to carbon copy cloner?
Yeah, similar to Carbon Copy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but yeah, so the as somebody here is experiencing, when a drive goes down, you have to rebuild the drive. And if you don't want to pay the money for the rebuilt drive, you can do it for free, but you got to download all your images again, which is fine. You know, you sit and go, well, at least I haven't lost them, and it's not cost me anything to do it, but it just takes time to do it, especially if you're on a slow internet connection. But what I have here, I've got 228 terabyte external drives. They're like a NAS, but they're DAS, direct attached storage. It's got several drives in them, but it sees it as one drive. And I've got a local copy of them. So if one drive went down, I can go to the second drive and continue working whilst I'm sorting out what's wrong with the other drive. And both of them are up in Backblaze.
Okay.
So so yes, so if I had a fire, flood, break in, somebody nicked it all, it would take me some time to rebuild all that, but I would still have all my images and all my software and everything's on the computer.
Okay, so a supplementary question to
Yep.
that. I've got 4 terabyte external drives,
Yeah.
and I've got all my images on copied twice onto them. So,
Hmm.
um, but 4 terabytes doesn't take that long to fill up. And the problem that I had,
Hmm.
amongst other things, was that I'd set up Carbon Copy Cloner
Yeah.
to back up onto one of those drives
Yeah.
that I'd filled, and so wasn't using it.
Yeah.
Which is so that this is a this is a tale of how to get everything wrong. But in terms of how to get it right again, uh, do I then have to plug in each drive in turn in order to make sure they remain copied onto uh, up into the cloud, or
Yeah.
is there a way? Is there a workaround of some sort?
No, no,
No,
no.
just
The
do it
drive
on.
the drive would have to be physically attached to actually send the file to the cloud.
Okay.
This is why I suggest that David here's had a drive fail, but it's all in Backblaze and he's bringing it down. But Jones got one. She's got a Western Digital. Was it 14 terabyte?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
14. Yeah.
14 terabytes. They're about £200. And because they're using Backblaze, everything that's on there is backed up into the cloud and it's one drive.
Mm.
David's his one's failed and so on. But there are ways that you can actually work with multiple drives, but not have them plugged in. So what you do is you create smart previews. So you select all your images, create the smart previews, and you don't need the drive plugged in to work and edit it on it in virtually full res. So you can do that. Your smart previews will take up a bit of space. In my catalog of nearly 500,000 images, my smart previews is something like about half a terabyte. But it means that I can work on my images anywhere I want to without having my drive plugged in. So, so you can do that. So, and then the other thing that I would suggest that you do is in catalog settings. Is it in catalog settings? No, it's not. It's in preferences. Under presets. Yeah, under presets. So I'll show you this. So have this box here ticked. Okay. And what it does is all your presets, all your smart previews, everything is actually by the side of your catalog. So if I show you, go to this is a 4 terabyte external drive, Thunderbolt 5. So if I go to my work catalog, here we go. Here's my catalog, which is 7 gigabytes. But here's my previews at 256 gigabytes, smart previews. There's my previews at 1.7 terabytes. But then I go to my Lightroom. So these are all the files that run my catalog. So my web templates, my watermarks, my plugins, they're all next to the catalog. Now, the advantage of doing that is if I unplug that drive, which is, as I say, a 4 terabyte Thunderbolt 5 drive, so it's about 6,000 megabits per second. Sorry, yeah, 6,000 megabits per second. I can plug it into any other computer, and as long as there's Classic on there, I'm working on my Classic wherever I am because I've got all the files, all the GPX files, all the FTP files. I've got everything there. So it runs a bit faster. So I tick that. That's my workflow.
Okay,
Everything's next to the catalog. Okay.
that's good. Thank you.
All right. So and then you just got to back up that one location and you've got everything. See, if you don't tick that box, Classic or Adobe buries everything into the operating system. You know, on a Mac, you have to press Alt key down comes library, and you go down here and you go, and you're 47 columns later, I'm making that up. You get to that file that you want, which is your web template or something like that. Well, if you tick that box, it's right by the side of your catalog, and they're with you wherever you are. So if you want to move to another computer, all you got to do is take the parent folder, copy it, put it on a USB drive, and plug it into your new computer, and you're up and running again.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else got any questions? No? Okay, then I'll try and do the recording tomorrow morning for you. It'll be up online. There'll be an email out. Does anyone need the handout? Did you get the handout? Is that all right?
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Okay, I'll put a link to my Dropbox for it, so you get that. Wednesday we're doing, say, colors on mobile devices. So color picker, color mixer on mobile. And next week we're looking at the presets. So what we've just done there, creating presets. We're looking at renaming presets. We're looking at import presets, develop presets, speeding up your digital asset management on import. Okay. All right. Lovely to see you all. Hope to see you Wednesday. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.